Hello everybody, thank you for watching Videos on Venturebeat. I'm Jolie Odell. I'm here with Elizabeth, one of the co-founders of Science Exchange. Yes, we're talking about real science, not this smarmy technology crap. It is true that real scientists have this kind of view about technologists, just a little bit, right?
No.
A little?
No.
I've heard that what we do is like the dumb side of science.
No, I think scientists are actually somewhat in awe of computer technologists.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're impressed with y'all too. Well done, scientists. So now let's talk a little bit about what Science Exchange does for you out there who are familiar with computer science history. It's kind of, there's an analogy between, remember at MIT when computers were new and there was the big IBM machine and the high priests of the IBM machine could feed it little punch cards and nobody else was really allowed to touch it. Well, Elizabeth was sharing with me and is now going to share with you that that was kind of the same way that a lot of very expensive science equipment is handled. And you need it to do your research, but maybe you just don't have access to that machinery.
Yeah, so basically Science Exchange, we created it because there's a real trend in scientific research with the development of really specialized equipment, and that specialized equipment is very expensive, so it can be up to $1 million for a machine. So what universities do is they purchase this equipment and they house it in specialized centers called core facilities, and those core facilities are run by resource scientists. So they're basically the only ones who are allowed to touch those machines. And what scientists do is they actually pay to use those machines, pay to get the resource scientists to do the experiment for them. And what I realized was that that was actually very inefficient because those core facilities were used by the scientists at that one university. But actually there's hundreds, actually thousands of core facilities across all of the universities in the whole world that it would be great if everybody could access them. So what we see is these core facilities, they often have time that is basically underutilized, and so they can be subsidized by the universities. And sometimes that's millions of dollars each year that the university spends to keep that core facility up and running, when they could actually, other scientists would be happy to pay to use that machine if they could effectively find them. So yeah, so basically what we did was create Science Exchange, where it's an online marketplace, a platform where we have a database of all of the core facilities and scientific service providers. And when scientists want to access a particular experimental service, they can search for that and then choose whoever has availability, who has the best ratings, who has the best price, and you know, obviously location is important as well.
So you're making scientific research just this much more economical.
Yeah, it's more economical. It's
well, it's better for the universities too.
It's better for the universities.
So actually, we were talking earlier. You worked in breast cancer research, which is maybe kind of it skews a little bit pink because of the topic, I guess.
Yeah, obviously.
So and we were talking about how in science in general, the field experiences some of the same problems as women who do technology, especially when it comes to that critical point in your career in your late 20s, early 30s. You called it the postdoc phase.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So I think in breast cancer research in particular, we don't have a problem with getting women scientists interested in the topic. Obviously, like you said, there is a lot of women who are interested in breast cancer research, and up until the PhD years, we are very good at retaining those women scientists. But the problem is when we go through our postdoctoral phase, which is where we're still doing training, we do 2 to 3 year stints at different hospitals to kind of learn everything that we need to before we obtain a faculty position. And at that time, there tends to be a problem with women dropping out. And so I think those are the same sort of problems that are faced in the startup founding world, where there is a lack of job security. There is that high risk 2 to 3 years where you don't know if you're going to have a job, and you don't know if you're going to have maternity benefits and all those types of things that are important when you're starting a family. So yeah, definitely women have those same sort of problems in the scientific world, where we have to kind of focus on ways that we can work to retain them so that we don't sort of lose that talent.
Y Combinator has traditionally skewed kind of like young and white and male. You get this idea of, you know, the little boy hacker in his hoodie off to change the world, but the Y Combinator classes are getting so huge, and you say that's changing, and actually the crowd is getting a little bit older, and they were very welcoming to you.
Yeah, they were very welcoming.
An outsider in many ways, a scientist, a New Zealander, a woman, and someone who's a little older than that 19-year-old hacker.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think our class was a bit different. We had 160 people. There was only 2 women, but I did find the class very welcoming. I actually made a lot of very good friends, so I definitely didn't feel there was any issue with exclusion. There was no reason why, as a women scientist, I wouldn't recommend anybody coming in and being part of the class.
That's so great. What was it like working with Paul Graham?
Paul Graham is amazing. I'm sure you know everyone would say how great a mentor he is. For us, you know, we came in not really sure what to expect as a science-based startup, and he had a lot of questions about the sector and trying to understand what are the issues that he wasn't familiar with. But he's so able to see all of the connections, so he's got this really great pattern recognition where he can sort of say, okay, these are the same issues that were faced by this company and this is how they solved them.
Like he compared you guys to Airbnb, which is like, how do you make that connection? Paul Graham can.
Yeah, so Paul Graham basically said to us, you know, think about the sort of problems that they faced where they had to convince people to feel safe in letting out their homes. I mean, what could be more risky? We face the same thing with convincing scientists that they're safe to let somebody else do their experiment for them. So yeah, definitely we sort of use them as an analogy for how we can build trust in our marketplace.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and for chatting with us. Thank you guys again for watching. We will talk to you soon.